Donald Trump is blasting Jerome Powell on True Social right now, basically calling him too late, pal. He needs to cut, saying that he can't leave soon enough. It's very clear that Donald Trump wants to fire Jerome Powell, and you see that he's actually asking the Supreme Court, can he fire him? I do think that Jerome Powell is late to the game cutting rates. However, I do think it is good that the Central Bank of the United States and the executive branch do have separation of powers, so that way they're not highly influenced by the president. Obviously, acts of Congress create the Federal Reserve, and Congress has way more sway over the Federal Reserve than the president. However, let's see what the Supreme Court says on that one. But the ECB is cutting rates, the European Central Bank, and we do see that the CME group is projecting that the United States is probably going to have a rate cut in June. I do think that is the case because I do think the Fed is late to the game. I do think that the tariff negotiations hopefully will go well, and hopefully inflation won't tick up too much at all, because I do think we're on the downtrend. Trueflation today just has us at like 1.3-ish%. It fluctuates, and obviously the Fed uses different real-time indicators than Trueflation, but Trueflation does kind of give us a holistic view in real time of what's actually going on. And the fact that it's saying that the United States is at 1.3-ish% inflation is kind of concerning, because the Fed was saying that we were at like between 2.4 and 2.8%, so give or take. So it's complicated, right? But we're basically there at the 2% is what I'm thinking. So let's see how this plays out. But yeah, I think once the Federal Reserve cuts rates and once these tariff negotiations go through, yeah, the market should respond well. Hopefully these things will happen. Hopefully the economy will still continue to hold. At least for crypto, dang, it's holding well. Bitcoin's still in the 80,000s. It only dipped into the 70,000s, and then just after a few days it went right back up. It really does look like we possibly are in the bottoming zone still, as I just said in the prior video. So let's see what happens. But dang, Trump is definitely bringing out the daggers this morning against Jerome Powell. Jerome Powell must be feeling the heat even just a little bit. It's kind of hard when the President of the United States is calling you out so vocally and publicly. But you know what? He does answer to Congress. So let's see how it plays out, and let's see what the Supreme Court says. But yeah, I think a Fed rate cut for the United States is coming, at least by June.